Can it be 4 years since we all went home from Lake Placid with the chant, USA, USA, ringing in our ears? 4 years since Eric Heiden and the hockey team and that little town in the North Country of New York State? It has been. But now a new Olympic flame burns, kindled by the rays of the sun at Olympia in Greece 10 days ago. Since then, it has traveled by plane to Yugoslavia, and since has been run all over this country. Last night, it arrived in Sarajevo, and today it has been run through the streets of this ancient city in Bosnia, headed for the opening ceremonies of another Winter Olympics. At Kosovo Stadium, a crowd of more than 50,000 people waits for the flame and for the arrival of the athletes of 49 nations. We even have snow in the downtown area today, and plenty more in the mountains. Entering the stadium now, ready to welcome the flame, are thousands of Yugoslavian young people, school kids for whom today is the event of a lifetime. We're here too, a long way from home, ready to bring you the pomp and the pathos of the opening ceremonies of the 14th Winter Olympic Games. Opening ceremonies are tradition and pageantry, but they're also emotion. Emotion that you will see build here at Kosovo Stadium today. Emotion that's a blend of national pride, of the chance of a lifetime, and of international friendship that's really all the more touching because it seems so hard to achieve at a wider level. There's also a feeling of continuity that despite wars and terrorists, these gatherings, these winter gatherings, have been going on since before Lindbergh flew the Atlantic, before Babe Ruth hit his 60 home runs, before the American economy soared to dizzy heights, then crashed into the Depression. Here are the Olympic rings being formed in the stadium. You're going to see 2,700 people on the floor of that stadium before this afternoon is out. Hello, I'm Jim McKay, reporting from Sarajevo, where we'll be from now until the closing ceremonies ring down the curtain on these 14th Winter Olympics. The weather couldn't be better. We really got lucky here. There hadn't been any snow in the downtown area for more than 2 weeks until last night. Just after midnight, it began to snow. It snowed till just after 9 o'clock this morning. Then it cleared. We have a perfect day. Beautiful for the opening ceremonies. Up in the mountains, where we'll be taking you during this program for men's downhill ski race training, it's much colder, of course, and of course, there's plenty of snow. Bill Johnson, by the way, the surprising young American, is still training well, and you'll be seeing him. And tomorrow night, you'll be seeing the actual competition in the men's downhill. Now, the scene and the mood here are much different than Lake Placid 4 years ago. It's much warmer, for one thing. The stadium is much larger. The city is 500,000 people normally, as opposed to 2,500 for the little village of Lake Placid. Our hosts then were country people. This time they're city folk. Instead of the Indian lore of Lake Placid, they tell us here of the 400 years when the Turks ruled Sarajevo, or when the Romans conquered the Illyrians 2 millennia ago. We'll be telling you about all that sort of thing during the games, but today the subject is ceremony and entertainment. We begin the Parade of Nations at Kosovo Stadium in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. Greece, as always, leading the parade. That is the tradition. Carrying the flag, Andreas Pantelidis, an alpine skier. Greece has never had any importance in the Winter Olympic Games. But let's not say importance. They've never had any gold medalists or any medalists in these games. They'll actually be introduced when they come around turns 3 and 4 here, as we might call them, and down the home stretch to the finish line. And just at about the finish line, the official introduction will take place. Well, they decided to introduce them a little more quickly than they did at the rehearsal yesterday. Greece being introduced right now. The music for the opening parade is based on themes from the 5 continents of the world. It was written by Stipica Kalogera. Behind the Greeks, alphabetically now, Andorra, a little country in the Pyrenees, 175 square miles, carrying the flag. Albert Jovera, an alpine skier. Andorra, only 175 square miles. But it's about 6 times larger than San Marino, who are in the games. And San Marino is about 60 times larger than Monaco, and they're here too. Of course, Monaco is smaller than Central Park in New York. Well, now, at least Andorra is from mountainous country where you can ski. You'll see other small nations here that will surprise you. How about Costa Rica? The weather, as I said at the beginning, couldn't be better. It's up in the 40s now, and yet we have the snow cover outside the stadium and on the hills. Argentina, wearing their ponchos. Flag bearer Frieza Bustamante, another alpine skier. Good skiing in Argentina and just across the mountains in Chile. In fact, we once televised the World Championships of alpine skiing from Chile in our summertime. Now the Australians, not thought of as a winter sports nation. They had a good ski racer not many years ago named Malcolm Milne. Carrying the flag today, Colin Coates, the speed skater, the veteran one. The Aussies. Samaranch, president of the IOC on the left in the white coat. Here comes Austria, a real power in winter sports. A small country, but a big one here. Carrying the flag, Franz Klammer. He of the golden suit in 1976 on the comeback trail. He's been racing very well this year. Big smile from Franzi. Remember that day when in that golden suit he came down his home mountain in Innsbruck in 76? A run we'll never forget. The first time a downhill ski race had ever been covered completely from top to bottom. It was worth it. Franz fell down the other day in training, but he appears to be all right. Those are the Belgians, and behind them, the Bolivians. The flag bearer for Belgium, Henri Moulin, an alpine skier. Lots of alpine skiers so far as flag bearers. Early nations marching into the stadium in Koševa. Many more nations to come. Czechoslovakia carrying the flag, Jiří Králík, the ice hockey goaltender. And he is a very good one, and tomorrow night he'll be facing the Americans. A must game for the United States after their loss to Canada yesterday. They almost have to beat Czechoslovakia. It won't be easy, because the Czechs are a favorite here, probably for the silver medal. Their women's cross-country team is very strong, too. Sveta Yeriova, Blanca Paulo, and Anna Pasiarova have some fair alpine skiers. They're long shots, though. Talk to any Olympic athlete, just about any of them, I think, and they'll tell you that it's a marvelous moment when you march into the stadium behind your country's flag. That means Chile. Still the Chileans. And now that's North Korea. North Korea. That's standing for Demokratska Narodna Republika Korea. Serbo-Croatian. Rybin Im, a speed skater, carrying the flag. Small delegation. Egypt. Wouldn't expect to see them here, would you? Egypt, a one-man team. Jamil El-Ridi. He's a skier. He recently spent 40 days in a cave, that fellow, in the middle of the Sahara, surrounded by snakes and scorpions. His father took him there, thinking it would make him a man. Wow. He ought to be tough enough for the slopes. Finland. Well, they're always here. They're always good. Cross-country skiing and ski jumping. Remember Veikko Kakkonen way back in the first Winter Olympics we did it in Innsbruck in '64, and they cried, Vivo, Vivo, for him. France. Flag bearer, Yvon Mugel. He's in biathlon. Familiar tricolor. The dashing way a Frenchman wears his scarf. They do have a way of wearing clothes. They, of course, were the first nation to host the Winter Games in 1924 at Chamonix, and again at Grenoble in '68. They have a figure skater, Jean-Christophe, very good in the compulsories, not so good in the free skating. Iceland, a tiny dot in the Atlantic Ocean, but they're here. Population of 230,000, that's all. They've never won a Winter Olympics medal. They certainly won't here, but they're here to take part. Stadium just beginning to fill up with the teams now. Marching around that beautiful display in color of Chamonix, Sarajevo, with the logos of Sarajevo Winter Olympics behind. You see the long stairway. Well, the final runner will carry the plane. Italy, the flag will be carried by Paul Hildgartner. He's a luger, 31-year-old luger, and a very, very good one in his 4th Olympics. The Italians, most of them from the South Tyrol section of the country. You'll find that many of them have German-sounding names, because originally that was Austrian territory. Another look from overhead. That's the Zetra Stadium in the upper right-hand corner you saw, where the hockey and figure skating will take place. The Yellow Rose of Texas being played as yet another nation marches in. Remember, the music represents a blend of the music of the 5 continents. The Italians in black. Red, white, and green flag in front of them. The scarves, red, white, and green. Hildgartner, we said, is a definite contender. Not much else this time. The alpine ski program has gone down a bit. Japan. They hosted the Winter Olympics, of course, in 1972, carrying the flag. Tadayuki Takahashi, an ice dancer. Officials here, and then behind them, the athletes. They have one gold medal contender, the world sprint speed skating champion in 1983, Akira Kuroiwa. He will be very much a challenger in the 500 meters, the 1,000, and the 1,500 meters men's speed skating event. Halfway around the world. The United States and the Soviet Union will both be somewhat near the end of the parade of athletes. Here comes Canada. Boy, they high today after beating the United States 4-2 in ice hockey yesterday. They're now a definite contender for a medal. When you talk to any Canadian, he says a medal is going to be gold. They also have a fine ski jumper, Horst Bulau. Singles figure skater, Brian Orser. He's very spectacular. And their downhillers are always challengers. Steve Podborski is here, and Todd Brooker. There's Bulau, the smaller chap, right there in your picture in the middle of the screen. He can really fly, literally fly. They also have good pair skaters, Barbara Underhill and Paul Martini, who won a bronze medal in the World Championships last year. Steve Collins is another good ski jumper. Here is South Korea, who will be the host for the 1988 Summer Olympic Games. Just behind them comes Costa Rica. South Korea marches into the stadium in Yugoslavia. Stand by for more. Monaco, smallest nation in the game, 465 acres. That's just under 3/4 of a square mile. With a population of over 30,000, it's the most densely populated country in the world. Carrying the flag for Monaco, that's David Lajoux, the alpine skier. It is Monaco's first Winter Olympics. Mongolia. That is, there in the flag you saw Luzandas Dorj, cross-country man. Mongolians often show up at the last minute. This time they knew they were coming. at Lake Placid, and way back in Innsbruck, 64, Innsbruck, they walked in just before the game and said, we'd like to play. They said, well, you know, you have to enter a year ahead or something. They said, we didn't know that, so they let them participate anyway. People's Republic of China coming into the stadium also now. Yes, there they are. Their second Winter Olympics. They were in Lake Placid, remember. Had 24 athletes up there, none of whom won a medal. They're not expected to win a medal this time either. Zhao Shijian, a speed skater, carrying the flag. Now, Norway. Another power in winter sport. Carrying the flag, Bjorg Eva Jensen, speed skater. She'll defend her 3,000-meter gold medal that she won in Lake Placid, and she'll defend it on her 24th birthday. New Zealand. I guess you can't get much further away from Yugoslavia. Certainly not much further than New Zealand. Headed down towards the South Pole. See that guy waving. He's enjoying himself. Flag bearer for New Zealand, Marcus Hubrick, an alpine skier. They've never won a medal. Although the best alpine skiers in the world go down to New Zealand every summer to train. You heard them calling it in Serbo-Croatian on the public address system. 55,000, more than 50,000, we don't have an official attendance, gathered here, Kosovo Stadium, normally the stadium for the local soccer team, which hasn't been too strong in recent years, they tell us. Now, East Germany, Njemačka Demokratska Republika. I think I got it. Carrying the flag, Frank Ulrich, a biathlon athlete, 26-year-old owner of a gold and 2 silvers. East Germans, very strong, of course, in bobsledding, in figure skating. Katharina Witt, beautiful girl, will be in figure skating. Here comes Puerto Rico. That is the ball club, my friends. There he is, carrying the flag all by himself. George Tucker, who is a luge racer. Needless to say, he does not practice at home. He practices in Upper New York State. Yes, they're watching all over the world. They tell us that an estimated 2 billion people around the world are watching these ceremonies. American flags there. There are plenty of them all around the stadium. They're not all together. These people are standing, by the way. Very few people are seated. That's kind of normal in European stadiums. We'll be right back. There's the team from San Marino, 23.6 square miles. Last competed in 1976. The Soviet Union. A fine round of applause for them, not only from the grandstands, but from some of the dancers on the field. That's interesting, because generally speaking, the Yugoslavs are not all that friendly to the Soviet Union. Carrying the flag, Vladislav Tretiak, their great goalie, trying for revenge here in these games. This is his 4th Winter Olympics. The last time he was yanked from the game at the end of the first period against the United States. They'll have plenty of challengers in many sports. There's figure skaters Elena Valova and Oleg Vasiliev. Ice dancers Natalia Vesperlianova and Andrei Bukin. Cross country Nikolai Zimyatov. He may be their best. Here is West Germany now. And a fine round of applause for them. West Germany, site of the 1936 Winter Olympics. That was Monika Holzner. Behind the fire, there she is again, the speed skater. Claudia Leisner, very good figure skater for Germany. Norbert Schramm, also in the men's division. The alpine skiing sisters, Irena and Maria Epler. From the Soviet Union in the stands, and they've all risen to their feet and are cheering. Well, here they are, ladies and gentlemen. SAD stands for the United States of America. Carrying the flag. Frank Maisley, a loser, 23 years old from Newark, Delaware. What an honor for him. He didn't expect it at all. He's a quiet, self-effacing fellow. Listen to the cheers for the Americans. There they are. They're here to chant USA, USA in the arenas and on the ski slopes. Scotty Hamilton, perhaps the strongest favorite in these games, three-time world champion figure skater at 5 feet 3 and 110 pounds, the young man who overcame a nearly deadly disease as a youngster. Hello, Orange Texans. We'll go along with the sign. They got it in there. Bill Mayer. That's Bill of the identical twin Mayer brothers. Bill, the stronger of the two usually. Neither one has been skiing too well lately. We hope that they're saving it up for the giant slalom and the slalom event in these games. Rosalind Sumner's is somewhere in there, the favorite for the women's gold medal in figure skating and many others. None of our real favorites have started yet. The ice hockey team, of course, is not favored for the gold again. They hope for a bronze or a silver, and they're still going to be contending against Czechoslovakia tomorrow. This is with the Spaniards going by. Just behind the United States. Now we have Switzerland. Spavchevska, they call it. And there is Erika Hess, the alpine skier, one of the best in the world, carrying the flag for Switzerland. The United States team was applauded all the way around. So was the Soviet Union. The United States, the largest delegation here, 124 athletes. The Soviet Union, the second largest, with 110. That's not the most the Americans have ever had. Here are the athletes from the island of Taiwan. That flag, by the way, is not their national flag. They're required to carry just an Olympic flag because of the endless controversy between mainland China, the People's Republic, and Taipei. That's their Olympic delegation. No contenders here. They've never won a medal in the Winter Games. Taipei Olympic delegation. Great Britain, Veliko Britannia, you say in Serbo-Croatian, means great or big. Top favorites, Jane Orville and Christopher Dean. And there is Chris Dean carrying the flag. Once upon a time, he was a bobby in Nottingham, England. Only a trainee because he got very, very good in the ice dancing. They're the best in the world, and when you see them, you'll know it. They're absolutely spectacular. They wanted them, the British did, to carry the flag together. However, under the rules, one person must carry the flag. And he said, okay, I'll do it. Once Jane said it was all right with her. As a matter of fact, he wanted her to carry it, but it turned out the flag was too heavier for her. So he says he's carrying for both of them. Yugoslavia, the home team. Nice uniforms, aren't they? Powder blue with slightly darker blue hats and scarves. Carrying the flag, Yuri Franco, an alpine skier, giant slalom specialist. He's good. There's Mika Spiljak, you saw, the president of the presidency of Yugoslavia. Lots of pressure in these Olympics for that. There's the flag bearer, Franco, but the big man is expected to be Bojan Križaj, who will be administering the oath to the athletes later on. Boris Strel also could have a shot at a medal for Yugoslavia. They've never won a Winter Olympics medal. It could be historic for them because they really have a realistic shot at a medal here. What a day that would be if they won it. The biggest gathering of athletes they ever had here before was the Balkan Games. They had it here a couple of times in this stadium. Another look at the Americans. Think they're having a good time, don't they? That was Pat LaFontaine just went by. The mountains and the city of Sarajevo. Here are the dignitaries coming down for the opening speeches. They will not be long. Juan Antonio Samaranch on the left of your picture right there. To his right in the dark overcoat, Branko Nikolic, president of the Sarajevo Olympic Organizing Committee. In past Winter Olympics, it's always customary for the head of state to open the games, but that hasn't always been true. For example, at Lake Placid in 1932, it was the governor of the state of New York, Franklin D. Roosevelt. He wasn't elected president until later that year. Adolf Hitler in 1936. Richard Nixon at Squaw Valley in 1960, then Vice President of the United States. Charles de Gaulle at Grenoble in 1968. Le Grand Charles.
Izražavam zahvalnost Međunarodnom olimpijskom komitetu, međunarodnim sportskim federacijama i nacionalnim olimpijskim komitetima za podršku koju su davali organizacionom komitetu u pripremama igara. Čast mi je da predstavim gospodina Juana Antonija Samarana, predsjednika Međunarodnog olimpijskog komiteta, i da ga u ime svih nas toplo pozdravim.
Senor Samaranch from Spain, the 7th president of the IOC, succeeding Lord Callanan. Generally thought to be doing an excellent job.
On behalf of the International Olympic Committee, I should like to thank the organizers and the people of Yugoslavia for the great efforts they have made in organizing the 14th Olympic Winter Games here in Sarajevo.
Mr. Samaranch speaks 5 languages, French, English, German, and Russian, in addition to his native Spanish, and he has selected English for the day.
49 national Olympic committees are present. This figure has never been reached before in the history of the Olympic Winter Games. I am very pleased to welcome all the participants and officials to this great festival of youth and sport. We are convinced that once again we will demonstrate to the whole world the true meaning of sport as an illustration of friendship and fraternity with the Olympic flag as a symbol. This is the image of peace as we conceive and practice it. I wish all of you the best of luck. May you display your finest talents in that spirit of fair play, which is one of the main principles of our Olympic ideal.
There's Pat LaFontaine on the right.
Hvala Yugoslavia.
Final couple words in Serbo-Croatian.
Hvala Sarajevo.
That'll get him. Now they know what he's talking about. What a day for that.
And now I have the high honor to invite Mr. Mika Spiljak, President of the Presidency of the Socialist Federative Republic of Yugoslavia, to proclaim the 14th Olympic Winter Games open.
There is the President, Mika Spiljak, 67 years old, born in Croatia.
Proglašavam da su 14. zimske olimpijske igre u Sarajevu
open the 14th Olympic Winter Games in Sarajevo. By the Olympic rules, he can say that and nothing more. Now we should have 6 salvos. There they go, starting to be fired. No significance except celebration that the games are open. And going to have balloons also. There they go. Balloons in the Olympic colors ascending into the skies of Sarajevo. Much more to come. Here comes the Olympic flag into Kosovo Stadium in Sarajevo. Being carried by 8 athletes representing the 6 republics and the 2 autonomous provinces of Yugoslavia. The republics, Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Macedonia, and Montenegro. The autonomous provinces, Vojvodina and Kosovo. They're both within Serbia, but independent provinces. The 8 athletes representing different sports. There's a skier and a handball player, a canoeist, 2 basketball players. They have a good basketball team internationally, as you know. Long jumper, also. A rower and a soccer player. They're followed by men and women dressed in various costumes from the 6 republics. Moving toward the southwest end of the stadium where the flag will actually be hoisted by 2 other Yugoslav athletes. Kind of space-age costumes, aren't they? The Olympic hymn by Spiros Samaras. The words by Constantine Palamas. Immortal spirit of antiquity, father of the true, beautiful, and good, descend, appear, shed over us thy light, upon this ground and under this sky, which has first witnessed thy unperishable fame. Give life and animation to these noble games. Throw wreaths of flowers to the victors. Create in our breasts hearts of steel. In thy light, plains, mountains, and seas shine in a roseate hue and form a vast temple to which all nations throng to adore thee, O immortal spirit of antiquity. Words to the Olympic hymn. Shot from under the flag. That's the cameraman lying on his back on the track. First time I saw that, it was in Lenin Stadium in Moscow more than 20 years ago. ABC cameraman Mike Friedman laid down, did the same thing. Now they've reached the flagpole, where the flag will be raised by alpine skier Boris Strel, bobsledder Borislav Yevgeninovich. Strel recently finished 4th at the World Cup Giant Slalom. That was just last weekend in Borovets, Bulgaria. He was 8th at Lake Placid, so he could be a contender. Some of the emotion here gets through to you. Those Americans. Special feeling. Now the Oslo flag will be brought in. That was the official Olympic flag here, but the Oslo flag was presented to the IOC in 1952 by the committee from Oslo, Norway, when they held the Winter Games there. Since then, each 4 years, it is presented to the new people holding the games by the people who held the previous games. So a delegation will be coming into Kosovo Stadium from Lake Placid, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, the music being played by the Norwood Brass Firemen's Band from Norwood, New York. There they come. The volunteer firemen. A few of them, I'm told, are just volunteer musicians. They're not firemen. Lake Placid, USA. Mayor Robert Peacock of Lake Placid will be presenting the Oslo flag to the mayor of Sarajevo. We asked asked them why they played The Saints Go Marching In and Babyface, which they're playing right now. And they said, because we like Dixieland, that's why. I didn't know Babyface was Dixieland. There you go. As you know, it made up their own mind. They had trouble getting here financially. They needed some, I think it was $16,000, $18,000 actually. As of Christmas week, they only had $350. So Mayor Peacock went on the tube in the radio, and they got the dough, and here they are. There it is. There's their big bass drum. Well, their small bass drum. What are the odds that they would ever have thought they'd be here? Take a closer walk with me. Now that is Dixieland, as Keith Fountain can tell you very quickly. Play it for you better than anybody. Carrying the flag for Lake Placid is Jim McKenna. He's the president of the 2000 Club in the village. That's a group that wants to bring the Winter Games. There he is. Want to bring the Lake Placid, the games back to Lake Placid in the year 2000. So he says, we're just lending this flag. And here comes the mayor, the tall man there, the mayor of Sarajevo, Uglesha Uzalac. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall, so it shouldn't surprise you. He's the former president of the local basketball club, which currently are the champions of all Yugoslavia. America the Beautiful. That's still the fireman from Norwood, New York. Don't have to read you those words. You can sing them for yourself. We feel them here. Some of the team singing. Hey, listen to that for the gentleman from Lake Placid. Now Mayor Peacock will do the actual presentation. He runs a dairy up there. He's been president of the town of North Elba, which the village of Lake Placid is part. There it goes to Mr. Samaranch, and he will hand it over to the mayor, Mayor Uglesha Uzalac of Sarajevo. He's responsible for it now until 4 years from now in Calgary, Canada. The long stairway still awaits the arrival of the Olympic flame, but now the entertainment part of the program begins. 1,200 dancers on stage here right now. They're from amateur cultural associations in Bosnia-Herzegovina. They're going to perform modern variations of the old Kolo folk dance. Now, Kolo dancing is very popular in all parts of Yugoslavia, but it's indigenous to Serbia. This is new music, modern music, based on the old music, composed by Zoran Hristić. Those that represent the unity of all the Yugoslav nationalities and folklore. And of course, they've been working on that unity ever since the country of Yugoslavia was formed after World War I. The man who bound them together best, of course, was Marshal Tito, who died in 1980. He is still absolutely adored in this country. Pictures everywhere. Isn't that nice? They've been rehearsing, by the way, since last September. Only on weekends at first, but since late January, every day. Most of them are school kids. The reason they can do that is because school's out, kids, for the month of February. That's a peripheral benefit of every Winter Olympics. They did the same thing in Lake Placid. Now they're going to form some patterns for you. A little like halftime. But But these are very interesting patterns. Watch as they do it to the unusual modern music. Now, we've been told by people around town that the shapes they're doing, that's not the Yugoslav star or anything like that. It's just an artistic shape. We've been told two things. First, that all of the patterns you're going to see are patterns that Yugoslavian women very often knit into sweaters. However, Mr. Pervan, the director of choreography for the opening ceremony, said, I just like the way it looks. So do I. Look at that. Director of the opening ceremony, Alexander Yevchovich, also the main director of the National Theater here in Sarajevo. Director of choreography, as we mentioned, Slavko Pervan, who is the director of choreography at the National Theater. Director of the entire Department of Ceremonies here, I'm going to try this once, is Enver Hajiamarsmahic. In his last year of philosophical studies at the university. Well, they certainly could be patterns you'd knit into a beautiful ski sweater, couldn't they? Ah, the Yugoslavians, all the athletes of the world looking on. Turkey, they ruled here for 425 years, the Turks did. Sweden. Switzerland, Spain, SAD, the United States. There they are, the cowboy hats. You can't mistake them. Elaine Zayak on the right, waving. That's pure Elaine. It's Judy Blumberg kneeling. By the way, there was a man who was just sworn in as an American citizen, Aldan Endestad. He had to go all the way back to Utah to get sworn in, then flew all the way back. He made it in time for the opening ceremonies as an American citizen. Cross-country ski racer. Moving into yet another pattern. Well, this is the one they did in the first place. I think that's the one I'll ask Margaret to knit into my sweater. Can you imagine the rehearsals this took? There are marks on that wooden floor that have been put in the middle of the stadium, but they're very difficult to see. There's Rosalind Sumners, world champion of figure skating, favorite for the gold medal here. The honorary mayor of Edmonds, Washington, where the main street is called Rosalind Sumner Boulevard, where the town is called the Land of Roz, and the coach is called the Wizard of Roz. Oriental music now. Still representative of one of the provinces or republics now of Yugoslavia. An old Kolo folk dance. If you wonder how the dancers got here for rehearsals and for the ceremonies, there wasn't any free buses. They waited for the streetcar. It's great, isn't it? You get the feeling that you're in the mountain nation of Yugoslavia, the Balkans. Look at downtown. That's toward the old city. There's the stadium back, the indoor stadium, New Zetra Arena, in back of Kosovo Stadium, where hockey and figure skating will take place. Behind that is the speed skating rink, outdoors. A little hazy right now. It's crystal clear in the ceremony, shortly before the ceremonies began. There are a total of 2,730 dancers, musicians, and cadets performing here. Somebody had to organize it all. There's a good wide look. More entertainment to come, the arrival of the flame to come. We'll be back at Kosovo Stadium. The Olympic flame almost ready to come into the stadium now. It's come a long way since it started at Olympia in Greece. Here's Jack Whitaker with the story of the flame's arrival.
At 11 o'clock on a splendid Sunday morning 10 days ago, the Olympic flame began its trip to Sarajevo, Yugoslavia, from Olympia, Greece, site of the ancient games. In ancient Greece during the Olympic Games, a sacred flame burned at the altar of Zeus, in whose honor the games were held. And in 1936, the organizing committee of the Berlin Olympics conceived the idea of traveling the Olympic flame from Olympia to the sites of today's modern games. Here in Olympia, at the foot of the temple Hera, who was the wife of Zeus, a head priestess began the ceremony which ignited the torch. The priestesses gathered around a concave reflector facing the sun. The head priestess then kindled the flame with a torch lit by the sun's fire. The flame was transferred from torch to a lantern and delivered to Nicholas Philaritos, president of the Greek Olympic Committee, who boarded a plane for Athens. From the airport in Athens, the flame made its way through that city's streets, under the shadow of the Acropolis, where the Greeks prayed to their gods in ancient times. It was in the late afternoon hours when the flame arrived at Athens Pan-Athenaeum Stadium. There, Angelo Lambesis, president of the Hellenic Olympic Committee, handed over the flame to Anto Susic, president of the executive committee of the Sarajevo Olympic Organizing Committee. After the traditional ceremony, the Yugoslavian Olympic Committee brought the torch by plane from Athens to Yugoslavia, landing in Dubrovnik. The flame then split off into two directions, east and west, throughout the country. Some 2,000 youths, mostly athletes, formed a gigantic relay team which passed through all the capital cities of Yugoslavia's republics and provinces, ending up at last in Sarajevo.
Now, the poem, Hero Man, Here Comes the Flame. It is for you to say what it shall be. A torch of warmth for the spark of conflagration held high in our hands. The flame of friendship is not consumed in ashes of forgetfulness. Hero Man, here is the light. And here come the cross-country skiers, led by Ivo Charman, as I said. It was snowing this morning. It's almost too warm for it on earlier days, but today it's okay. The figure skater Sonda Dubravcic will be the final carrier of the flame, a 19-year-old girl, native of Zagreb. She'll take it from the cross-country ski racer and make that long journey up the steps. She was chosen simply because the Yugoslavs liked the idea of a young, charming girl representing their nation. Remember, 4 years ago, Dr. Charles Morgan Kerr, a psychologist, lit the flame as a representative of all the flag bearers. But there she is, Sonda's moment in the sun. She's a good figure skater, by the way. Not too long ago, defeated Rosalind Sumner, the world champion, in a meet here in Yugoslavia. We asked her last night, what will it mean to you? She said, just the biggest thrill ever. There are many athletes in the Olympics, but only one person gets to light the torch. I just hope I don't get tired, she said, running up 94 steps. I suspect she'll make it. sight. Smiling young girl, representing her nation and the world of winter sport right now. Now, watch as she goes up the stairway. A flag begins to come up behind her. Look at this. And it'll go all the way up with all the colors of the Olympic rings in it. That was the idea of the set designer, Mita Hosheva. Now, you also see in those orange colors there, 150 ballet dancers from all across Yugoslavia. They'll be dancing on the ramp. Came out of those doors behind them, which just opened up. Count them if you'd like. 94 to the top. There she is. Plane has arrived.
Titius, Altius, Fortius. Brže, više, snažnije, složnije,
Tedious, Altius, Fortius, faster, higher, stronger, unitedly, joyfully. Inebriated by the beauty of the snow, we bravely soar to heights unseen. Our youth will set the world aglow and clasp we are in games supreme. It's a tough world. The Olympic flame still burns. As it will burn until these games are concluded. Just a marvelous moment here. Beautiful. Coming up shortly will be the administration of the Olympic oaths. Oath to the athletes by Boeing Frieza, the Yugoslavian hero of ski racing, and the oath to the judges, too. That'll take just a little preparation, so we're going to take a break and then return. It's time for the administration of the oath to the athletes of the winter sports world by Bojan Križaj. There he is on the left. Next to him is Miodrag Pirovic, who will administer the oath to the officials. He's a cross-country skiing judge. Križaj will be speaking in Slovenian. That's his native tongue. It's not the native language here. However, the people of Sarajevo we've talked to said that's okay. It's his native language. It's not a matter of controversy.
On behalf of all the participants in the game, Yugoslav athletes Boeing Križaj and state the solemn oath. The judges' oath will be given by Miodrag Pirovic.
Obljubljam, da bomo na teh olimpijskih igrah nastopili v pravem športnem duhu, da bomo spoštovali pravila in se po njih ravnali
by the rules which govern them in the true spirit of sportsmanship for the glory of sport and the honor of our teams. I think he blew it. He forgot a couple of the words.
Športa in čast svoje domovine.
Well, maybe you and I would too in a moment like that. In your native land.
U ime svih sudija I funkcionera dajem obavezu da ćemo na ovim zimskim olimpijskim igrama suditi nepristrasno u pravom sportskom duhu poštujući pravila olimpijskih takmičenja.
Respecting and abiding by the rules which govern them in the true spirit of sportsmanship. He said it fast. He also used a piece of paper.
Svi smo ovdje da se druguje. Ko poželi da se razvije.
Now there's going to be another really lovely entertainment section in here called We're All Here to Be Friends. It's up, it's lively, modern music. Music similar to a group called ABBA we've heard over here in Europe for many years, kind of soft rock. But this was written by Piero Zubac. This number really gives the feeling that we've gotten since we've been here in Sarajevo from the people. They are extremely warm, tremendously friendly. I've felt it every time I've been in Yugoslavia. I've covered figure skating here, and, gymnastics, and ski racing, and swimming in several different cities. They're very nice people. Some of the words here: we're all here to be friends. Let the winner enjoy the game and the loser know it ends. We're all here to be friends. That is not a split-screen effect that we're doing. That's that actual flag running up the steps to the flame with the dancers on either side. That'll be in the Summer Games of Los Angeles. An official Olympic sport for the first time. For the word can't give you a flower, here's a song, sportsmen and women of the world. Remember our glad waving hand. Join it. Join us. Sing along. Blue skies for the Calgary meeting. All the young be hale and hearty. Here's the garland of our greeting from Sarajevo, Yugoslavia. Come from all over the world. And now, smoke going up with the Olympic colors behind the stadium. I tell you, this has to rank high on my list of opening ceremonies. And there's more to come. A final look at Kosovo Stadium as it was on the day of the opening ceremonies of the 14th Winter Olympic Games. The athletes of the winter world marching out now to go to the mountains, to go to the arenas, to start to compete seriously tomorrow. The men's downhill ski race will be the first final. That explosive, wonderful, dangerous event. They're the Americans marching out.